We back at it. And yeah, today I'm talking to DJ SOSO, who has been a DJ, a pioneer. He's a DJ slash producer. And yeah, man, all around dope guy. And he has some songs that he's been dropping over the years. His new track is called Isiphithiphithi, and it's a funky type of soul type of song. So yeah, so I'll be chatting to the DJ Soso about that, and also I'll just be chatting to him about he's been a DJ for a while, what his experience has been like, and hopefully we'll learn a thing or two about DJ Soso. So I can't wait. Should be a dope one. Insta chat with the journalist. So yeah, I'm just waiting for DJ Soso to join in, so that we can get the show on the road. Brother, how are you?
My guy, I'm well. How are you, man?
No, I'm good, brother. Good to finally, connect and chat about what you've been up to.
Yes, and I thank you for the opportunity. I think I've been following your Insta chats for a minute now, and even at some point you showed some of the guys from the label. That is Stones and Bones. You had them on this platform. And I think I appreciate it because I've known you in the game for years now. I mean, you're probably one of the people that know how far I come from, and I also know how far you come from.
Yeah. And your journey is very interesting because you started back at campus with the DJ thing, at Wits. Can you just tell us about the beginnings, how it was like when you used to be a campus DJ?
Well, starting from the very beginning, I literally just got into Wits and I made a decision that I want to DJ. I had actually made the decision like when I was in matric. When I learned of the different clubs and societies at Wits. So I was like, okay, I have to join this one specifically, And I remember the first day of orientation week, I had to look for the tent, how it's set up at Wits, where you have the different tents for all the clubs and societies. So I had to find the DJ Society tent. And I remember I had to like look for them, went down to Pozoli, and because I was like, this has to happen, Eventually I managed to link up with guys like Sphectacula, because he was running the Wits DJ Society at the time, linked up with a Milkshake. At the time, he was still just Kagiso, linked up with DJ MZ. So those are the guys who really just sort of set me up. And they had the patience. They could see that I wanted it. And they made sure that they also just give me the opportunity. So I'll forever be grateful for those guys. So yeah, they are the ones who put me on. And I think also on my side, I had my own ambitions of directing and leading just how campus DJing should happen or should look like, And because at the time it was very cliquey, and if you had access to like equipment, then you were gonna get an opportunity to learn how to DJ and also get to do gigs, So for people like us, we didn't have access to equipment, and we had to rely on the actual DJ Society so that we can learn how to play. So I sort of moved up the leadership ranks faster, because no one was really up there and no one was actually about to replace someone like Spey, So I was like, oh, okay, here's an opportunity, and I think I have the character to lead this whole thing. And I had the other guys who who were sort of my peers and were all like first year, second year at the time, and they were willing to like support me, you know. And they were like, okay, no, go for it, and then we'll support you. And then I remember at the time what actually happened is when Spare was leaving Vets, Sphectacula, when he was leaving Vets, he then took the DJ Society and joined it with VOW FM. At the time, it was just like an actual campus station where the broadcasting was only like sort of conserved for campus. He joined. So if you had to now join the DJ Society, you were now going to become a member of VOW FM.
Yeah.
We didn't really like that because we just felt like the interest of the DJ, you know, won't be given a priority, you know. And then we managed to then still like negotiate with management to get it out of that setup and then set it up back again as the Wits DJ Society. And because I had always shown initiative of leadership, management like just decided that okay, you then become the president of the DJ Society. And I was like, what, 19 years old? So I was still quite junior on campus. And you know, at the time, once you become the president of the DJ Society, it simply means that all the campus events, they have to run through you. All the clubs and societies, all the residence events, some of the SRC events, you know, you are the sound guy, you are the DJ guy. So I had to like learn there in terms of event coordination, logistics of doing events. So yeah, and I also had to learn how to DJ. So yeah, it started quite early for me, and we're still here because of the passion, man. Yeah.
You know, I know a couple of years ago, Shimza was appointed to do one of the Wits freshers, and I remember him saying like, "Yo, that is too much. Like, he couldn't handle, like, you know, the pressure of the students, and it was too chaotic." And this is someone who at the time was obviously a professional DJ, and he's also like someone that hosts events. So that's just a chaotic field. So what were some of your, you know, crazy moments of like, you know, being in that space of putting together events on campuses at Wits?
Let's start with lunch activations. So like I said, because now I was the sound guy, everyone had to come to me. So Wits had this sort of setup where they used to do almost every day or almost every Wednesday and Friday, they would have lunch hour promotions for like big brands and stuff, you know. And some of the brands, they would tell them that, okay, we give you a space, and if you don't have your own sound, we have our own campus DJ who will come and play with, you know, for your activation. And you find that at the time we didn't have like a proper PA system, you know. And I had to learn. I mean, I was a law student at Wits, and I had to learn how to connect sound. So, you know, you get to make those amateurish mistakes. As someone is busy with their activation, the sound goes off, and then they look at you, and you have a limited understanding of a PA system or sound, and now you think to yourself, okay, what am I going to do here, you know? But you live and you learn, and you also meet people who are patient with you because they can see that, okay, this guy is quite young, and those were not like very big activations where, you know, too much money was being lost. But, you know, we had to build our professionalism there, because from there, then you are able to then start thinking, okay, do I have all my things covered if I get, like, you know, a certain gig? You know, what are the checklist things that I have to have, you know? So yeah, I was able to like grow in that way. But you also get tested as a leader, or you know, since you put yourself there, where someone will be like, okay, but you guys are not doing 1, 2, 3, or you guys are not doing this for us as members of the DJ Society. And then you think into yourself, and sometimes you have to think to yourself that you shouldn't take offense very easily, because then you learn how to then try to impress people, and also know that as a leader, you won't always be on the good side of the people that you lead or you represent, you know? So yeah, the crazy things, I think, yeah, it was just the usual. I mean, you can think of campus madness. So let me explain it this way. At the start of my DJing as a campus DJ, um, the campus management, they didn't see it as an art form or a skill that has to be paid for. You know, so they would say, no, but Wits DJ Society is a campus club, so why are you guys charging money? At most we'll pay for the sound, but we won't pay for the DJs, you know. And at the time, now we had to like fight, you know, with management to say no, but we need money to buy music, you know. Vinyls are expensive at the time. It was in the mid 2000s, so it was still vinyl days. MP3 CD MP3 were still coming in, you know. And I remember, like, you know, we would get like paid like 350 or 500 bucks for like not for like 1 hour set, for like, you know, handling the whole 6 hour event, you know. So yeah, but like I said, because at the time you're learning and you are still more excited by the opportunity, you are still more excited by actually playing music that moves the crowd, because with campus events the crowd is standard. It's like you don't have to like panic whether people are going to show up or not. It's like standard, people are going to show up. So yeah, we had to like build it from scratch, you know, build the culture. And then from that, the culture then grew into Braamfontein, because what people see as Braamfontein today is not what Braamfontein was back in the day. I mean, South Point buildings were not there. So the student community was actually not really in Braamfontein. It was mostly in Melville at the time, Melville, Auckland Park. So we then built that culture from campus level, doing your O-Week events, doing your beer gardens, doing your Auras picnic events, doing your SRC bashes. You know, we built that culture into Braamfontein. And then I remember there was a time when really like almost every guy you meet in Braam was like either a virtual DJ, a guy, or like a normal DJ person. Yeah. So I think for me, it's still a story. Actually, I still want to sort of document properly, because we saw the culture from scratch, from campus, and then building up into influencing the city as it is today.
That is a very, very interesting story, and I'm glad I asked that question, because I remember Braam, like, you know, 2007, you know, it wasn't the Braam that it is now, and I've always wondered, like, you know, what happened in between, you know, and you just explained that. So yeah, I think you definitely need to, you know, document that thing so that people know, you know, these Braam kids can understand, you know, who built the foundation. So yeah,
the real founders.
Yeah. So now let's get into your music journey, as far as, you know, putting out music and, you know, producing music. Like, when did that start for you?
Your production, I started, let's say 2009. Yeah, so at the time it was just still about learning campus. I was working with this one guy, he's a Botswana national, Eugene, and we're actually trying to form like a production duo, you know. And yeah, we just made like some songs, tried to release stuff like independently, but back then it was more difficult to release music. I mean, you know, the platform was not as, you know, digitally viable as it is these days, you know. So you'd always think that you'd have to like get signed for you to release anything. So yeah, it started then, and then I put it on a break a bit, and then came back again around 2014, 2015, linked up with Venko. I think he's doing so well now. And I'm always so proud of that guy, man, because before I linked up with him, because I was on radio, I mean, that's another story altogether. You know, I was on VOW FM, doing a music show every weekend, and he would like sample me, like, you know, with music. And then eventually I was like, okay, you know what, I've sort of worked in music, and then I think I want to come back now. And then yeah, we just started hitting the studio, just making beats, you know, recording vocals, doing this, doing that. And then in 2015 we then dropped a song called Ingani. Recorded that one with a vocalist called Tuna. And we released that independently. And then 2016, we dropped Izulu. I actually recorded Izulu. I have a story about Izulu. It's a crazy story. Izulu has two versions, né? It has the normal version, the original version, and it also has a version, the chant mix featuring Big Zulu. So how I linked up with Big Zulu, I went to the South African Hip Hop Awards, and he was part of the production performing some Zulu traditional dancing stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, I saw him and I was like, I need this guy in a song, you know, and he was performing, you know, something that was not like even associated with house, but I just felt like I had to have him in a song. And then I called the following day. I called the organizers of the South African Hip Hop Awards, and they managed to link me up with him. What a cool guy! He came from the Val, drove to Bram. We put him in studio with Venko, and we recorded Izulu, and then Venko sampled Zephyr Saint, and then for an international release, and he loved the song immediately, and then he dropped the song. He released the song internationally for us under Tribe Records, you know. And for me, I think, you know, it was a moment that sort of gave me that validation. You understand? Because we try these things and we wonder if we are following our purpose or we are following our passion. And you just need those moments, you know, so that you don't easily give up. You know, you have that story at the beginning of whatever profession or career that you start in, and you just need that moment. That it's just one moment that validates, you know, the hustle, and then you're like, okay, I think I'm in the right place. And then whatever happens after that, you just never give up. And I never gave up from 2016. I had to like just deal with personal things, but the whole time I was reading the game. I've always been reading the game, always, you know, just checking how people do their things and see how, you know, their growth and all of that, you know, and paying attention to sound, because, you know, before I'm a producer, I'm a DJ. You know, I've always had to read the market, always had to read the crowd. So then I decided that, okay, let me get back again into this music thing, because I've always just had, you know, music concepts, you know, produce things and then sideline them, produce things and then sideline them, but not have the courage to actually release. And then I linked up with Stones and Bones. I've actually been boys with Stones and Bones since probably 2011, because I met them through my radio show. And then I decided that, okay, guys, I think now I just need to like get back seriously back into music. And then went back into studio, and then we just started. We've been working on this music that you're hearing today, probably for the last 2 years. Yeah, I think from beginning of 2019. Yeah, like a lot of these songs we produced, and then after producing them, we then just sidelined them a bit, because now we're setting up the label, which is Ubizo Cafe. And then when the label came up, I already had artists who had like a lot of music that I was like, okay, I would rather maybe like focus on releasing this music before I even drop my stuff. Even last year, I remember even tweeting last year, I was like, yo, the whole thing of having like a full EP done and having to wait because you have to release the other artists. But, you know, that's the balance between being a DJ producer and also running your own label, you know, because you still have to make sure that you put the interests of the artists that you signed forward. So yeah, that's and and that's where I am now. Sorry?
Yeah, it can't be about you. No, I'm saying it can't be about you all the time, because, you know, we see it a lot of the times where we have artists that also have labels. They prioritize their stuff, and then the other artists feel neglected, and then they leave. But yeah, I'm not going to get into that.
We've seen it time and time again.
Yeah, so you are very invested, obviously, in the industry, and you do a lot of like behind the scenes stuff, and you didn't leave, you know, doing events back at campus. You're also part of like the Deep in the North movement. Yeah, yes. So how's that going?
I think we got. I think because of COVID, I just found that some of the things were, some of the things that we're involved in were just not, very practical. And we started that with Vince. The movement moved from venues in Craig Hall. From Craig Hall, we took the event to Rosebank. We did Baba Black Ship. Then we moved it to the old Capital Niche, and then we moved it from there, took it to Bryanston Cotton Lounge, and we're receiving like a lot of support. Unfortunately, I think when we got to Cotton Lounge, the venue wanted now for us to make it more of a polarized event where there's house music and hip hop. So now it was moving away from what it was. And I personally I was like, nah, I don't think I can do this. And fortunately, Vince was also sharing the same sentiment. Then we just stopped it. And then we brought it back to Baba Black Ship after like a year or so. And then that went through. But because I had now set up the label, I had told Vince that I'll come and play and also help him to source DJs, but I won't be involved more in terms of the logistics, and then that's basically what happened. But I'll say this, I mean, that event, also, sort of kept us, relevant in the game, because, people always have to trust your judgment in music or your involvement in music. You can't just like decide that you want to release a song today. People you need to build your own, I wouldn't say a fan base, but like sort of a community of people who say, you know what, we know this man, we trust his judgment in making the song or releasing the song in his label, because he's done events, so he knows probably what he's talking about or what he's doing. So for me, it really helped me like a lot to be able to still like sort of enforce myself within the industry, and also just to keep your ear, to the music, because sometimes you lose touch and then you're not paying attention, like who's the artist, because now there's no interest now. Now you don't even know who are the new artists, you don't know the new sound, you don't go out as much. And then you lose touch, man. So doing events really like help a lot. And for me, that event has helped me like big time. And even now I'm planning to then move away from being stationed in one venue, doing events in one venue. I wanna move around, because I have artists now, I have my own music now. And I would rather get to people than try to invite people to come to me, because music, you release music and then there's people like all over Gauteng, and if you are just doing one event every week in one venue, people they don't get to hear you.
And you're right there. You need to be out there and reach people. Don't expect people to come to you. Do you think that, obviously, they say life will never be the same, as far as the events, communities the events culture rather is concerned. Do you think, people will still be able to make money? Is it still going to be profitable to go to an event, to host an event rather, and, maybe just make your money from ticket sales moving forward? Or the question really is, how do you then now, moving forward, how do you then, become a successful event promoter and still make money? Because now venues are like, you know what, we don't want to charge for tickets or whatever, because they need people to buy drinks and buy food inside. So what is the future of like the future promoter?
I think it's going to be difficult to make money as a promoter if you don't have a good relationship with the venue where you are hosting. You can see now, because of the pandemic, there's a big chance that we may not go back to big number concerts. So probably the biggest concerts would be like 500 people, or it's gonna be like anything legal will probably be under 1,000. So unless people get over the wave, this whole thing, and the vaccines actually do the job, you know, because I think you've seen it in New Zealand. They are back to doing big number concerts, you know. So I think things will go back there if we are able to contain the virus. If we are unable to contain the virus, because people in New Zealand, they were able to actually adhere to the restrictions, you know, they were very strict. And so, but with us, I think we've seen we failed now. over like a period of 2 waves, we've really failed. So I don't know what's going to happen going forward. So let's say worst case scenario, I think then promoters would have to build relationships with venues whereby you don't only rely on ticket sales, but you are able to then get into a bar deal whereby you say, okay, I'll take 20% of the bar, and then the venue can take 80% of the bar, because in the end, it's the promoter that actually brings people to some of these venues. You know, crowds actually follow who's hosting. They want to know who's hosting the event. So the promoter still has the power, but it's about how the promoter exercises that power. You know, so I think if you are trying to just get in and just do your events and hope for door taking, and you let the venue take all the bar, I don't think people are going to be making money. And that's the worst case scenario. That's when we don't have the big concerts coming back.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see, you know, how things roll out in the next couple of months or a year or two. So yeah, man, you know, finally, you know, the last question now is, you know, you pushing a new single, Isiphithiphithi. It is a different sound, funk, soul. You know, I don't know how to categorize it. So yeah, man, you know, tell us about your new single.
Let me tell you a story. You know, it actually got me thinking about how I would say someone like our South African rapper Ko stumbled onto the Skanda sound. You know, when the man was actually recording an album with a specific sound, and somehow he then got into touch with Skanda, right? And then he did a 360, like, you know, he benched the other songs, and then he loved this sound. So what happened with me is we made a Mapiano deep Afro beat, right? And sent it to a vocalist, to Mr. OG. Because I had been recording music with OG since beginning of 2018, if not 2017, somewhere there. Like I said, in recording music, putting it aside, and then, you know, and sometimes you just want to perfect the sound. If the sound doesn't sound good, you know, you can only wonder, you know, how it's going to be received. So I sent OG the beat. It was a loop, and then he took it, recorded this Isiphithiphithi, right? Sent it back. I got it. And then I was working with DJ Gaffy. He's also one of the guys we've signed. And I was trying to like get Gaffy back into studio so we can work this beat and finish it. Gaffy was just busy with his own things. And I was also just busy with my own things. Then we never got to finish the song. I then spoke to Maurice Machi, a member of Deep Cartel. He had the song, and I said to him, because by then with Maurice we had worked on like more soulful stuff, right? We had recorded some music, and then he was like, okay, I think I can do something with this. And then he laid out like just like a very basic heavy funk beat. Like you think that you know, it's something that came out of a Def Punk studio, you know. And I was like, and all I could hear is the melody, and I was like, okay. Then we went back for rearrangement of the beat, and then we worked it, and then the vocals like set nicely, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna forget about this vocal being on a piano a deep Afro beat, and then we just moved it to this, and then I was like, and I kept on listening to the song, and then I was like, nah, man, what's happening here? Zulu vocals on an electronic beat, and you know, and I started thinking, who is doing that? And I could even ask you, who is doing that? Who's fused funk beats or down tempo new disco with African vocals? Maybe I missed it.
I can't think of anyone.
Yeah, exactly. So then for me, I was like, okay, I think we could be. I even told Morris, I was like, we could be pioneering a new sound. I've always like wanted to be in that position, you know, where you don't force it. You know, it's one thing to like, you know, have ambitions of being a pioneer of sound, and then you start making weird things just so that you are the only person who's doing it. You know, I just felt like here's a sound. I feel like it sounds nice. The melody's nice. You know, it sounds like a new disco sound. But then instead of using English vocals, we're using Afro vocals. And I was like, that's a beautiful fusion. And then I was like, okay, I think maybe let's sort of make this our niche. You know, make it our unique sound. And we put out the song. And there's probably, we're currently working on another one now with OG, because I think so far, you know, when you find your vocalist, you know how Ralph Gum found who's this lady?
Monique.
How do I forget her? Monique, yes.
Monique,
thank you. Like, yeah, Monique gives Ralph what Ralph wants. And sometimes you just meet that vocalist that gives you what you want. OG does that, you know, and the man just freestyles, you know. And that's why when you hear the song, it's not too big on the verse, but it's big on melody and it's big on a catchy hook. That's him. He hears a beat, he gets into studio, and then he starts like just playing around with it. So yeah, there's 2 other songs that are done that are more on soulful side with OG, and then there's another Afro funk. I call it Afro funk, the sound. There's another Afro funk song that we are actually just busy with it. He sent me some of the separates last night, so we are rearranging the song, but that'll probably come out next year. So yeah, it's
yeah, I know. Hey man, sounds dope, bro. Sounds dope. Hey man, good luck with your label and good luck with the music, brother. Yeah, time flies.
Thank you, man.
We're already 35 minutes in.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah, you know, so another thing that I wanted to ask is that, like, the last question now, how do you balance, like, you know, being an artist, being a promoter, running a label? I don't know, what else do you do? What else do you do? Is music your full-time stuff, or do you have other stuff? How do you balance, like, you know, the workload? Because it sounds like it's a lot.
Okay, basically my life has been like this. I did first year law, same year I got into DJing, same year I got into events, right? And then I went on to finish my law degree. But now you've formed a skill and a profile. How do you then just leave it, especially when there's also financial gain, you know, in the skills that you've developed, in the profile that you've developed? So I just couldn't leave it, and I loved it, you know. So now I finished my law school studies, and then started saving articles, and then after that I then just continued with doing events, with DJing, with music production. So that has now led into my professional life now. I'm balancing between being a DJ, a music producer, a label manager, co-owner, a lawyer, yeah, and being a father. That's how I'm literally balancing it. How do I do it? I don't think about it too much, because I think if I overthink it, it's gonna overwhelm me. I'm glad that I'm not struggling with energy. I always tell my close friends, I'm not struggling with energy to do these things. I'm not struggling with the mental strength to do these things. More than anything, I'm struggling with time. There's just not enough time for me to then focus on the detail. But I'm still like sort of learning my way to better that, learning how to delegate. I think more than anything, once I learn how to delegate properly, I'll be able to do all these things. So yeah, that's what I balance my thing. But those are my passions. People will be like, yeah, but what do you love more? It's like children. The one does. I can't do one thing, and it's the only thing I do, unfortunately, because I get bored easily. So, and if it's the only thing I do, I'll think that I have all the time in the world. Then I'm gonna slack. So actually doing all these things keeps me on my toes, because also I know that I'm easily judged, by other people to say, oh, you're not doing well here because you are doing 1, 2, 3, 4. So now you have to be on point on everything. Yeah. So that's how I'm able to balance it all.
Yeah, no, well put, man, and very inspirational. Thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate it. There's a comment there. You do it because Oboso, Yali Boso.
Yes,
I keep missing this because of network.
That's Ntavi,
yeah.
Nah, thank you. Those are Ntavi saying I was in law school with her. So she saw me from, the stories I told you about how I was pushing through the DJ Society, and she saw that, and she would see me coming to class, doing a lunch hour promo. You understand what I'm saying? So she knows the hustle. Yeah. And there's another comment, Saul, King Solomon, Mr. Ores Picnic, yes. He knows the mess that we did. He was providing sound, actually, because that's how I also built a network of service providers or suppliers, guys that I can trust and they can deliver. Solomon, to this day, like when I need sound, he's someone I can speak to.
And that's, it speaks to a very valuable lesson of, not burning bridges if you can help it.
Yes.
If you're good at your job, if people can have faith in you, when you promise people something, show up. I think that's a very valuable lesson, because contacts are for life. Kulile says, as I wait for Soso's podcast, he had a dope radio show.
Hey, it's time. It's time. I'll do it. I know everyone has been saying that they want to hear my podcast. I want to do it, but it shouldn't take up too much of my time. I just told you I'm struggling with time. Ideas are there, and the strength is there, but it'll come. It will happen. It will come. And thank you, Kulile, for that. Kulile, he contributed a lot of content for my music show at VOW FM. He used to do mixes. We used to do like monthly mixes, and sometimes we would call them into studio. Him, Brian Black, they would come in into studio and then like do live mixes, and then and then we just chat. So yeah, I have like long-standing relationships with people in the game, and I love that.
Okay, I know. Dope stuff, brother. Dope stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Catch you on the flip side. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to seeing your label grow and chatting to more of guys from your label. So hit me up whenever you want me to chat to any of the guys on your team.
Most definitely, I'll do that. And thank you for the platform, my guy.
Okay, and sharp.
Sharp.